Hey guys, Dev here. So today we're going to talk about Reckoning, one of our Protection Paladin talents. Now, I see a lot of people advising other paladins not to use this, and personally I think that's completely incorrect. I think it's a fantastic talent when it's used correctly, but not a lot of people do utilize it to its fullest potential. So today we're going to have a quick chat about how to use Reckoning safely in raids to increase your threat, and also if you are using it correctly, you'll decrease your deaths. So Reckoning gives us a 10% chance if we have 5 talent points in it, after being hit by any damaging attack, that the next 4 weapon swings within 8 seconds will generate an additional attack. So this is obviously great for our threat output, it's great for our DPS output. But the problem with Reckoning is when we start to introduce parry haste onto the boss. So you don't really need to understand parry haste in super in-depth detail, but depending where the boss is at on his swing timer, he will get an increase in attack speed essentially. So the further back he is in his swing timer, the more speed up he's gonna get from that. So any amount of parrying that the boss is doing is gonna make us take more damage. And because we're hitting the boss twice instead of just once, it's essentially doubling the risk of a parry haste. And if we're adding an extra attack on, say we're using a fast weapon like our sword, our spell power sword, we're going to be hitting the boss an extra 4 times in that 8-second window. If we're consuming all the reckoning charges with our quick sword. So that essentially for that 8-second window is doubling the risk of parry haste. Now, I personally believe at this point in the game with my gear level that I can safely use Reckoning on everything with the exception of Prince, with the exception of Nightbane and Manx, and possibly towards the end of the Ghouls fight. However, early on in the Ghouls fight, getting a Reckoning stack is going to be really good for my threat. It's going to allow our DPS to pump more, it's going to unlock their DPS capabilities, and it's a fantastic talent. But the problem with talents is you can't turn them on or off, right, as you wish. You can. That's where this little trick comes in. So let's jump into the game and I'll show you my solution. Okay, so if we didn't want Reckoning, Reckoning is a buff, right? And you can easily remove buffs from your buff bar. So you could sit here clicking off Reckoning every time it comes up to turn it off. But we can actually do this through a macro. So what I have here is I have another Holy Shield on my bar. And this is my normal Holy Shield when I'm using rank 1 Holy Shield, and this is my CR. So CR is Cancel Reckoning, and all we need to add into a macro is /cancelaura Reckoning. And essentially what I can do is I can either sub this in if I'm tanking one of those more scary bosses, or even if you're starting Kara and you're main tanking a boss and your gear's not quite up to scratch yet, but you want Reckoning for trash, it really does make raiding faster. All the Seal of Wisdom that you're getting back, it makes you have to drink a lot less. It's fantastic in dungeons for extra threat. A lot of the time in dungeons, you're going to see really high uptime. And maybe you don't want to spend the gold to respec between your raiding build and your dungeon build. This allows you to run both. So Holy Shield is something that we're essentially pushing off cooldown the entire time. So it's perfectly fine to be a spammable button. So I can go through and I can do my rotation. I can keep tapping 3 as I do my rotation, you know. I'm grabbing my cons, I'm tapping 3, and that's going to consistently, regardless or not, if Holy Shield is on cooldown, just clear that Reckoning off ourselves if we don't want it. Now, I normally leave it on Z, so I have an optional keybind, and that requires me not to switch it around because I only do use it for certain bosses. And I'm starting to get to the point where I have now geared past the risk of being worried about parry haste, especially for the Kara bosses, maybe not so much for Mag quite yet, but use it at the beginning of the fight. You know, sometimes it is risky to leave that Reckoning up. If you want to make this even easier for yourself and you don't want to have to constantly spamming a button, get yourself a little weak aura to track Reckoning, and when it comes up you can just clear it off. Simple as that. Super awesome way, guys, to get the most out of your Prot Paladin talents. I absolutely love Reckoning. It's such a good talent. You shouldn't be forced into not running it because of the risk of parry haste. Use this little trick. It'll help out your tanking heaps. If you thought this was pretty cool, if you thought this helped out, feel free to drop a sub on the channel. I've got so much Prot Paladin content. Check out my other videos, heaps of other check out my other videos, heaps of other tricks and tips, stuff like that. Thank you everyone for your support, and I'll see you in the next one.